What is the Islamic ruling on cryptocurrencies? What is the Islamic ruling on cryptocurrencies?
وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن قَبْلِكَ إِلَّا رِجَالًا نُوحِي إِلَيْهِمْ فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So,
cryptocurrencies are a new form of decentralized commodities, and the point of cryptocurrencies is to be a type of currency that is not backed by a government, it's not backed by a known institution, it's not backed by the banks, and it is created by groups of people that, generally speaking, are not too sympathetic to banks and governments. And of course, the first and most famous cryptocurrency is created by the Japanese Satoshi, or it's obviously not an actual name, it's his pseudonym, and he created, of course, the famous Bitcoin. And from the success of Bitcoin, there were some people who became multimillionaires by investing $1,000, and they became, multi-millionaires after 10 years. So when Bitcoin went up, so the Bitcoin is the most famous example of cryptocurrency. It opened the door for not hundreds, thousands of different cryptocurrencies. So last year, the Fiqh Council of North America dedicated a significant amount of time to talk about cryptocurrencies in our annual meeting, and we went over this issue in a lot of detail, and by unanimous consensus, we issued a fatwa. To be more precise, we will be issuing a fatwa within a week or two, but the fatwa has been finalized. I have drafted, the initial draft is just going to be circulated amongst the other members and then released, inshallah ta'ala, maybe by next month after Hajj. But it is unanimous, we all agree. Cryptocurrencies, firstly, our fatwa is about Bitcoin only, not about all of the currencies, because every currency has its own ruling. The general ruling is that we did not find any reason to prohibit cryptocurrency, and therefore it remains at the default, and the default is that everything is halal unless proven otherwise. Memorize this simple principle, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. When it comes to mu'amalat, when it comes to eating and drinking and interactions with money and walking around and whatever you want to do, everything is halal unless the Sharia says it is haram. So if two people are debating, is it halal to drink water from a plastic bottle or not? One person says it's halal, the other person says it's haram. Who needs to bring the evidence? The one who says it's haram. The one who says it's halal does not need to prove anything. Everything is halal unless the evidence is that it is haram. Is that clear? So we looked at every single criticism of cryptocurrency, and we looked at a number of fatwa committees around the globe. Some of them said it is haram, some of them said it is halal. And we looked at this in detail. And from us in North America, we concluded that none of them raised objections to the level that it makes it haram. So they said, for example, there is no value to cryptocurrency. And the response to this is value is relative. Value is relative. Yani subhanAllah, you ask me, yesterday I saw on my news feed an original used Nike shoes from 1973 or something sold for, do you remember the price? $250,000. Like an old, crappy, used Nike shoes. You look at it, my nose would wrinkle up. Why would you want to buy this? But it's a collector's item, because it's the original made by the guy in 1970, whatever, right? It's a collector's item. I don't see any value in an old shoe at all. But some people do. And they think it's an investment to make. Okay? So many of us, we might have corals in our house. We might purchase corals for $50, $100. You go to the Pacific Island and you give them this, they're going to look at you, what is this? It's right there outside our house. Why would we take money for this? This is free for us. Value is relative. What you find valuable, others find valuable is relative. They said, of the objections, they said there's no government that backs it. The response is, you don't need to have a government to have some. So all of these, we looked at every objection after the other, and we came to the conclusion, there is no issue that will make cryptocurrencies haram in general, and Bitcoin specifically, we looked at. And we said it is halal to mine it, it is halal to invest in it and buy and trade in it, but The value of fiat currency will apply to cryptocurrency, which means spot trades must occur. You must trade it on the spot value right then and there. When you purchase, you get your money back. You cannot just delay and have an unknown value. Just like if I exchange dollars for pounds, if I exchange rupees for liras, it has to be done instantaneously, yadan biyad. So too, cryptocurrencies must be done immediately. You cannot have a transaction that is delayed. And we concluded the fatwa by saying that even though we say that it is halal, still there seems to be a gray area, and especially in terms of safety, in terms of wisdom. We as the Fiqh Council, it's not our job to give investment advice, but we do agree with those investors who said, do not invest in cryptos more money than you're willing to lose, because the Muslim is not foolish. And we should not spend our money foolishly. But the base ruling, cryptocurrencies, and in particular Bitcoin that we looked at, is halal. As for every cryptocurrency, we have to go look at that. But generally speaking, the major ones, Bitcoin, Litecoin, the ones that everybody knows about, these generic cryptocurrencies that are famous and are already established, there's nothing in the Sharia to prohibit them. Yet we caution that people should not be foolish, because Allah wants us to preserve our wealth. And with that, inshallah ta'ala, we conclude today's Q&A.
Is it permissible to invest in Bitcoin and use other cryptocurrencies? Yes, I do. I think it is permissible to invest in Bitcoin, to use it as a digital asset, to buy it simply for the sake of it being at a higher value, for it to go up in price and value, and then to sell it at a profit. That's something which is permissible. Of course, it could go down as well. This is not a financial advice video. This is a ruling, giving the Islamic ruling on it. It's also permissible for it to be used as a currency like it originally was. Yes, there is a difference of opinion on the matter, and there is a lot of criticism against the whole cryptocurrency scene at the moment, and the kind of hype around it, as I explained in another video. But the fact that people are trying to use this as a currency, and that anyone can suddenly create their own currency, and is that possible or not? And listen, these criticisms are founded. We need to respect those scholars that make these calls, and we need to respect the arguments that are being made, but also don't get too carried away by the criticisms, because some of them are coming from people who have vested interest. Like the financial institutions are terrified. The banks, they are seeing a huge rival to their control that they have over the world, and the world's financial markets and money as well. Currency is permissible to be created anew. That's happened all throughout history. So at one point, when it was something valuable that people rated, and they used it as a medium of exchange, and they bartered from skins to food, and then to eventually gold and silver itself in its physical form, and then coins that were minted to represent the gold and silver, and then paper money that was then created to represent the gold and silver money, which was based upon the gold and silver. And then, of course, in our time, e-banking and electronic transfers, which are just numbers that represent the cash money, which represents the gold coins, which represents actual gold. So everything is just a evolution, and maybe cryptocurrency is that next level evolution. You are dealing with the area of mu'amalat, and in this area you need a very clear prohibiting evidence to make the whole field haram. That's just not there. And so inshallah it is permissible for you to invest in it. I'm not a big fan, I have to say. I'm very cautious. I'm not the hype needs to be allowed to calm down. People need to understand it a lot more, but it is permissible for a person to invest in these currencies and to use them in the form of payment as well. There are associated matters that will be dealt with in further videos, but as for a ruling, it is permissible, and Allah knows best.